Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. As residents of Yellowknife continue to evacuate, on Friday, federal ministers announced priorities for those fleeing their homes due to wildfires. Here's Annette Francis with some of the details from the press conference.
The minister responsible for emergency preparedness took the lead in the update to the media.
The Canadian Armed Forces are providing personnel and resources to assist with Type 3 firefighting, airlift resources for the movement of people and equipment, and support with evacuation planning and coordination. The federal government is also delivering funding to eligible First Nations through the Indigenous Services Canada's Emergency Management Assistance Program. The Canadian Coast Guard is providing personnel and equipment to assist with firefighting.
Thousands continue to evacuate from Yellowknife as more than 200 wildfires rage across the region. There remains a possibility fires could reach Yellowknife's outskirts by the weekend. Bill Blair, the Minister of National Defence, said the top priority right now is to keep people safe.
That no one will be left behind. And so if for whatever reason a person is unable to evacuate either by road or by commercial flight, we'll make sure that we accommodate them and we provide them with the support that they need and help them get to a position of safety.
Terry Beach, Minister of Citizen Services, says anyone who has to apply for benefits due to the evacuation will be fast-tracked. He encouraged people to call Service Canada or access their website.
You will not need a record of employment. Please also consider signing up for direct deposit. If you're still receiving paper checks for employment insurance, your pension, OAS, this will ensure payments will be made directly into your bank account. We are also proactively reaching out to individuals who are still receiving paper checks, and we're also facilitating replacement payments for benefit checks that may have been left behind.
Blair took the time to praise the work of the Canadian Rangers.
I think the Rangers, I want to acknowledge, they do extraordinary work for us in the north. They're out there helping the people at evacuation centers, registering at the airport. They're also helping along that highway to make sure that there are support services, tow trucks, fuel depots. It's a long drive south from Yellowknife to those communities, and the Canadian Armed Forces are there. We're prepared to scale up if required.
Minister Sajjan also said that contingency planners continue to work on logistics on a daily basis because of the changing situation. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Thousands of evacuees from Yellowknife have begun to arrive in Edmonton and surrounding areas due to the wildfires that are now roughly 15 kilometers from the community. APTN's Chris Stewart spoke to some evacuees who have made the long drive to safety.
Susan and Linda arrived at the Edmonton Expo Center this morning, a couple of hours before it officially opened to register evacuees. The center will offer supplies and is preparing cots for tired people and families who have made the nearly 1,500-kilometer drive from Yellowknife. Susan says long lines made the trip much longer.
For us, it was longer than usual. Usually it will take us 15 hours to get to Edmonton, but then this actually took at least 24 hours. But just because we were exhausted, there was long lineups for everything.
The two are hoping to find a hotel and catch up on some much-needed rest.
Everyone just doesn't know where they're going. We're just like, okay, because we're going to go to Leduc, but apparently they're at capacity, so we came here, and we're just going to go see what's going to happen. And yeah, hopefully we can get some more answers and help and
find a place to stay.
Yeah, we all need sleep.
Jaden Saying traveled with his family, including his grandmother. He says they also are hoping to get into a hotel.
We slept in a high level, and it was like we slept on mats and like those little things they have for it. So it was, for me, it was fine, but I don't think my family liked it too much.
Beverly Pilgrim says her drive to Edmonton was helped out by locals along the way.
And we're very thankful of everything that Alberta has been doing. Coming down through high level, they've been giving free gas, they've been giving free food, they've been giving free water. People have been opening up their yards for camping. It's unbelievable what the residents of Alberta have been doing to help us.
Chris Fernandez says he's grateful to finally be in Edmonton and is keeping up to date on the newest developments.
Feels weird watching the news reports about like where your hometown, and you're watching it from not from home, and then you just got evacuated from there.
Across Canada, there are currently 676 out-of-control fires. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
The Grand Prairie Friendship Centre in northwestern Alberta is also doing what it can to ease the stress and worry of evacuees from the Northwest Territories. They're serving about 200 people or more per day, but that number could rise as the city has just this afternoon been named as the hub for evacuees. Sheila Morecourt says they are welcoming everyone from babies to elders, whether Indigenous or non-Indigenous, and offering everything from meals and baby food to diapers, strollers, toiletries, and clothing. Morecourt says they also have mental health supports and opportunities to smudge to help people cope.
I was talking to one little boy and he was just so excited, and he said he loved Grand Prairie because they were doing fun things every day, right? And then we've also seen people that are from that enterprise area and they've lost their homes. So it's been a tough time for everyone.
To British Columbia now, where the city of Kelowna has declared a state of emergency as a nearby wildfire threatens the city.
To protect our community. Somebody described it to me last night in the heat of the battle as it was like 100 years of firefighting all at once in one night.
Wildfire officials added that structures have already been lost in the fires, but as of right now, no casualties. More than 2,400 properties are under evacuation orders and nearly 5,000 are under evacuation alert. The fire started Tuesday and has grown to more than 11,000 square kilometers. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs is calling for the resignation of PC leader Heather Stephenson for her continued refusal to support a search of 2 Winnipeg area landfills for missing Indigenous women. The AMC passed a resolution at its annual General Assembly this week demanding the PC leader step down, citing Article 12 of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. That article encourages governments to facilitate access to and repatriation of human remains. The AMC has been supporting the families of Mercedes Myron, Morgan Harris, Buffalo woman, and Tanya Nepanak, who went missing in 2011, and the call to search the Brady landfill and Prairie Green landfill. Stephenson cited the safety of workers with no guarantee as the main reason not to support a search. Provincial NDP leader Wab Kinew and Liberal leader Dougal Lamont reaffirmed their commitment to funding a search earlier in the week at the AMC AGA. And we did not hear back from Heather Stephenson's office for a comment. Winnipeg's only official site for supervised drug consumption may have to shut down this fall due to a lack of funding. Sav Jonesa has that story.
Those looking for a supervised, safe space to consume drugs in Winnipeg may have nowhere to go as the only site in the city faces funding issues.
That's not what we want. That's unsafe, and we lose people like that.
Operated by nonprofit Sunshine House, Executive Director Levi Foy says they see over 100 people a day in the city's downtown. The mobile overdose prevention site is an RV equipped with harm reduction supplies, drug testing equipment, and staff that oversee the use of drugs in case of an overdose.
This type of service helps mitigate that for a lot of communities, and it should be a public health intervention that is supported by all 3 levels of government, but unfortunately we've only had one level of government step up for a very short period of time.
The site began operating last October in response to the high number of drug overdoses in the province. 424 Manitobans died from an overdose in 2021 alone, and the 1 year of federal funding for the site is about to run out.
We were pretty hopeful that Health Canada would look at considering just continuing the funding because it's not a lot. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for any additional funding available either through the province or through the federal government.
Health Canada said in an email that they are launching a new call for proposals next month and encourage Sunshine House to apply. But Foy says they typically only fund new or enhanced services. And with the province and city not funding supervised consumption sites, Foy is scrambling to find the money to keep it going.
It's really sad. It's sad that we have to be out begging people for money, and we have such a wonderful donor base, and we have some support from private foundations, and that's good and that's nice, but it's not the responsibility of individuals to be implementing public health interventions that we know work.
Site coordinator Davy Cole says they provide more to the community than just a safe space to use drugs.
You know, folks don't only just rely on us for like safer consumption supervision, but also to check in and say hi, to have a connection to folks who are around, to like have a coffee, to get resources, to find connection to nurses that will come down here and meet people and not just, you know, they'll have to go to the hospital or whatnot. Like there's different community connections to healthcare here, which is going to be a loss for a lot of people.
Cole worries what might happen if they close amid multiple epidemics like drug toxicity, accidental overdoses, and extremely high HIV cases.
There'll be a big loss of like that, just like a place for folks to come and use and be supervised by folks who are trained in overdose prevention and have the tools here and are ready for it. But I'm not even sure where folks will go back into bathrooms, and they'll go back into, you know, unsafe or like parking lots and stairwells, and, you know, that's what we're trying to avoid.
Foy says the loss of Winnipeg's only safe consumption site might mean a loss of safety and life.
There's many things that I'm really proud of with MOPS. I'm proud of the way that the community continually comes together. The community who comes here and makes this space safe every day for themselves, who take care of one another, who ensure that everyone, you know, can live through the moment and they can see another day.
Sav Jonesa, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Still to come, a first-of-its-kind clinic has opened to help Indigenous peoples in Montreal. Stick around. Welcome back. A new Indigenous health centre has opened in Montreal. The emergency care clinic will offer traditional, Indigenous, and Western approaches to medicine and will provide a safe space to receive care for the city's urban community. Here's Maricela Amador with that story.
It also connects with other medical services that are within the health complex.
And it's the first of its kind in Montreal. Michelle Rees-Morris is the executive director of the Indigenous Health Centre of Tiohtià:ke. She says that opening a clinic that provides services specifically for the city's Indigenous community is a dream come true.
So we have one doctor that's providing support on Wednesday in the mornings. It's very limited. However, we're working towards increasing those services.
The goal, she says, is for the clinic to eventually open Monday through Friday with multiple Indigenous doctors offering their medical expertise.
We're also establishing a elders council so that there is knowledge keepers and elders that are going to support us in doing the work and being available for Indigenous people to come and speak.
For years, advocates pushed for an Indigenous health centre in Montreal.
Justice for Joyce!
And the calls intensified after the death of Joyce Echequan, an Atikamekw mother of 7 who died shortly after live streaming racist remarks from her caretakers at a Joliet hospital.
Par rapport à ce qui est arrivé avec Joyce Echequan, ça a vraiment comme poussé le besoin que ça fait depuis probablement avant que je suis née, donc ça fait longtemps, que les droits humains, c'est un droit humanitaire ou humain d'avoir l'accès aux soins de santé et de bien-être.
Lynn Path-Walker-Borg serves as the health navigator at the clinic. She will assist patients in navigating through the healthcare system's bureaucracy and other obstacles.
Mais c'est sûr qu'il y a des gens qui se sentaient soulagés, comme finalement, il y a un endroit pour nous, parce que c'est vraiment le centre pour eux. Ça appartient à eux. Parce que ça fait depuis longtemps que le gouvernement, le système, whatever, ça prend du temps des fois, mais ça fait depuis longtemps qu'il y a des blocages.
Elder Mike Standup, who lives in Montreal, says that Indigenous people are apprehensive about the healthcare system because of all the discrimination and racism that exists.
It gives them options to let them know that there's a place where their needs will be respected, that primarily elders and traditional people will be taking part in assisting the people for their health needs.
Maricela Amador, APTN National News, Montreal.
Jordan's principle is meant to make sure First Nations children's needs aren't overlooked. Inuit aren't covered by the principle, but do have something similar in a federal direct aid program meant to help. As Trevor Wright reports, however, Inuit families in Nunavut are having an increasingly difficult time accessing this program.
Applications for direct aid, such as getting food to Inuit families, are stalling at the federal level, says a Nunavut charity. The Arctic Children and Youth Foundation says existing families are now having a more difficult time accessing supports.
We have a large amount of food security applications, so like people are requesting funds for food because they can't afford food.
The Inuit Child First Initiative serves as the Inuit equivalent to Jordan's Principle. It assists families with the Inuit Child First Initiative through their Kupanak office. This fiscal year saw the Kupanak office of less than 10 staff help process over 900 Child First applications, ranging from food, beds, to educational supports. Tutu says applications for aid from Inuit families are now taking longer to process at the federal level.
What we're seeing is our office is still getting the same amount of requests coming in, but it takes longer and longer for the request to be processed and approved or denied on the federal levels. I know the feds at the ISC level or ICFI level that we work with have advocated for more staff and have been given more staff to help work with this backlog, but they also know that the amount of staff that they have is still not enough.
Indigenous Services Canada say they're working to improve wait times amid a higher demand for both the Child First Initiative and Jordan's Principle.
So at the federal level for the Jordan's Principle work that's delivered by Indigenous Services Canada, I've asked the department to look at two things. One, for sure, more people. Two, automating some of the work. So if you think about Jordan's Principle or Child First Initiative as in some form of an insurance, what I'd like to see is some of the more, I would guess, routine requests be automated.
The foundation says people in Nunavut are looking toward the Child First Initiative for help because other systems around them are failing.
When a family has no food to eat at home, when they're facing imminent homelessness, and the systems around them are failing, oftentimes our office will get a call to facilitate. And so as much as there is disappointment, I think there is also a broad recognition in the community that the service that we're providing through Kupanawak is a social safety net.
I think a big part of the backlog is that ICFI funding is filling in gaps that shouldn't be gaps that we experience here in Nunavut.
Trevor Wright, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
Coming up after the break, we'll take a paddle down the Rideau River. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. This from Dan Phelps, an illustration of a prairie dog in an outdoor environment, something a little different. Dan sent in a few different illustrations and they were all pretty cool. If you have a great photo, send them to share at aptn.ca to be our next photo of the day. Now let's look at Saturday's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, showers and 23 for Fredericton and Halifax. 26 with rain in Kuujjuaq, partly cloudy, and 21 for Nain. 19 with showers for Montreal, 23 in Val-d'Or. Sun's out and 27 for Sault Ste. Marie, showers and 14 in North Bay. 24 under the sun in Thunder Bay, 30 with rain in Sioux Lookout. 24 with rain in God's Lake, Smoke, and 16 for Churchill. Sunny and 26 in Winnipeg, 23 with showers in Dauphin. 21 with rain in Regina. 19 is the high and showers in Saskatoon. 18 for Meadow Lake and Buffalo Narrows. In northern Alberta, 21 with rain in Fort Chip, Smoke, and 20 for Fort McMurray. 17 with rain in Edmonton and Calgary. 21 in Lethbridge. Smoke and 26 for Kamloops and Penticton. Sun's out and 22 in Prince George. Sunny 24 in Smithers. 17 with rain in Old Crow. 21 in Whitehorse. Rain for Yellowknife and 17. 20 in Fort Simpson. 12 with showers in Paulituck. 9 and rain for Sax Harbor. 12 with showers for Baker Lake, Chesterfield, and Cambridge Bay. 9 in Arctic Bay. 10 with rain in Igloolik. Police and youth in the Ottawa region took to their canoes for a day together on the Rideau Canal. This week's paddle marks the 22nd year for the Flotilla for Friendship. Annette Francis was along for the ride.
About 70 Ottawa police officers and Indigenous youth gathered at the Black Rapids Lock Station on the Rideau River.
You good with that? Yeah. Okay, awesome.
After gearing up and loading their canoes, they're off on an 8.5-kilometer journey together. It's not a race to see who can finish first. It's an opportunity to get to know one another. The first stop is Mooney's Bay for lunch. It's an annual event that 21-year-old Sam Cochran looks forward to every summer.
So I've been coming here for about 4 years now. It's very fun. Always really enjoy it.
What do you like about it?
Just like the interactions, being able to get out of the house.
Sheldon McGregor is from Kitigan-Zibi. He's been helping to organize this event for the past 2 years. He says interaction and discussion is what paddling together is all about.
There's a high Indigenous community here in Ottawa, so it really helps kind of bridging the gap because, again, we're in really complicated times, and I think we need to be kind of more involved in our communities and more involved in our cities.
Borj Il first joined the Flotilla for Friendship 10 years ago. He used to work at Inuit, an Inuit youth center. Now he's a police officer. He says it creates trust.
Coming here, they create friends who they only meet once a year, but when they meet here, it's like, hey, how you doing? How have things been? So it's been a great, really, it gives the youth an idea of, a chance to talk to police officers, to ask them questions, and see officers in general just in non-uniform and not, just as people.
Yeah, Lou! Yeah,
After another few kilometers, the flotilla participants reached their final destination, where the canal widens out to become Dallas Lake. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Wish I was out on the water. Well, that's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Friday. For the very latest, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy, thanks for being with us. Have a great and safe weekend.